I share an amazing story with you guys. The stories of two men. One of these two men, from a materialistic perspective, has been blessed with a lot of wealth. He has two amazing gardens, and in his garden he has the most beautiful fruit trees, palm trees, grape vines, the whole 9 yards. Just imagine whatever you can if someone had the most beautiful farmland. And one day he's speaking to his friend, and as he's speaking, he goes into this state where he says, you know what, I don't think these are gonna go anywhere. I don't think the world's ever gonna end. I don't think the day of judgment's ever gonna come. I don't even know if there is anything else out there. He has this type of perspective. He starts sharing these things, and his friend realizes that all the material possessions that he has have started to affect him and delude him. And his friends reminds him. And what does he reminds him of? He reminds him of the reality. He says, look, you weren't always here, neither were your gardens, and you will not gonna be remain always, nor will your gardens gonna be remain. He reminds him, he said, look where you came from. Are you gonna forget the one that brought you forth from dust and then despised drop of fluid? From literally liquid. And then he created you, then he formed you in his shape and made you the man you are today. Are you going to forget him, your creator? And unfortunately, this man doesn't take heed from this. And his friend trying to do it, seems like in the story, he reminds him, he said, look, you have all these beautiful things, but don't let them distract you from the ultimate goal, which you were created and you will die. And the one that created you, created you for a particular purpose. But unfortunately, this man doesn't take heed. He doesn't listen to the message of his friend. And one morning he wakes up and he sees his gardens are ruined and they're finished. That's what it takes for him to realize that none of these material things are going to be remain forever. These are not permanent. And when it's taken away from him, that's when he realizes the reality of life. And that's where he said, only if I hadn't associated partners with my creator, the one that made me and gave me everything. What interesting is that in this story, which is found in the Quran, by the way, in the 18th chapter, verses 32 to about 42, you can read it for yourself. What interesting is that if you think about a very baseline perspective, that he doesn't worship idol, he's not praying to another man, he's not praying to another thing or anything else like that. All he is doing, that he is completely immersed in his material worth, and he believes that his material worth are going to be remain forever, and he believes in himself. It seems like he believes that he acquired all of this and it's his, and so on and so forth. So why does he say that only if I hadn't associated partners with my creator, the one that made me and gave me? What interesting is that associating partners with God isn't just through worshipping other people or idol and so on and so forth. It could be that your material possessions become your idol. They become your God because you think that they have some sort of intrinsic power, or they are going to be remain forever, and so on and so forth. Or you give power to yourself, that you believe that you are the one that did all the things that allow for you to acquire all of this wealth, when the reality is you have forgotten the truth, which is God gave you ability to get up every morning and to go for work and to attain all of these things. And this is what the man had forgotten. And unfortunately, what it took for him to be reminded of this was everything had to be taken away from him. And I guess the message I'm trying to get across to everyone here is that if we look at our life in the 21st century, is not much different from this man. Our material possessions are different. Obviously, we are surrounded by iPhones and iPads and TVs and fit freezers and amazing places to live and cars and motorbikes. If anything, we live in a world today which is far more materialistic than the world has ever been in the past. And unfortunately, we start to think that all the material possessions that we have, they are not going to go anywhere. We start to think life is always going to remain the way it is. The friends we have, the family we have, all the material goods we have, they are not going to go anywhere. We start to think like this, all of us. But we have to remind ourselves that this is not why we were created for. We weren't created to just indulge in these material things and make them an end. No, that's not why we are here. But when they become a distraction, they take us away from our purpose. And there are profound stories in the Quran, and God gives us the best of his stories so that we reflect over them and then come to our senses from that perspective. And remember this, I'm not saying you have to become a monk. No one's telling you go into the monastery, give up all your material possessions that you have, and let go of everything, just live a celibate life, worshipping God all the time. No, Islam is the balanced way, where Islam teaches you that you can have your material things, you can have your nice car, nice watch, you can have the nice house, have this thing. But remember, you have all these things because they are blessings from the one that created everything that exists. They are blessings from God, and use those things to fulfilling your purpose, which is to be grateful to God and to worship God. And remind yourself of the reality. So don't let these material things become a distraction in your life. Don't be like the man in the story. What it took for him to be reminded of this was everything had to be taken away from him. Don't let it get to that. Just be grateful. Just be grateful to the one that gave you all of these things. That's the simple moral of the story. That's what we need to reflect or think about. Because the reality is, even if you are someone that deny God or deny the natural disposition of the human being, which is to acknowledge the creator of the heavens and the earth, one thing you know as well as I do, and as much as you may want to deny, that you are going to die, because you came from a womb and you're going to go into a tomb, and you are going to lose all these material possessions. Either you are going to die and leave them behind, all the material goods that you collected en masse, or these material things are going to leave you. Something's going to happen. Maybe they're going to go. They're not here forever. And this is the reality even the atheist can appreciate. So don't put your happiness and your life and everything about you in your material possessions. Have them, enjoy them, but remember what they are. They are just temporary things which are going to leave us. And remind yourself of the reality why you are truly here, which is to get to know God, and use all of these things as a means to lead you to that purpose. On that note, I'll stop. Jazakallah khairan for listening me. Everything good I have said from God, and all mistake is my own.